Hey everyone, Tuesday, show me the money. How's everyone doing? Why am I by myself, right? Why are we late, right? All these questions. Chris has technical issues. He sets up the show, the background, after I send him what we need to talk about this week. So he'll join when he joins. What we'll do is until he joins, we'll have a maybe a little Q&A, or I don't know. We'll just do something. I'll talk about Curbivore, and yeah, this is unexpected. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Show Me the Money. It's Tuesday. How's it going, everyone? So if you have questions, put them on the chat. My eyes are glued on the chat. Yeah, we're going to try to wing it. Maybe we'll call it Office Hours with Sergio. How about that? Can we do that? Yeah. There's no sound. It's you. Anybody can hear me and see me? Can you guys put a thumbs up, please? If you guys can hear me and see me. Anybody in the chat? Hey, everyone. Hey, Eddie, would you Uber in a rental? Okay, so I'll answer the questions until Chris comes on. His camera is not this. Okay, Macro Baked says thumbs up. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm just going to wing it until Chris shows up. If he does show up, if he doesn't, we'll just do office hours. I was going to do once in a while one of these anyway, so might as well do it. So, there he is. Is he here? Looks like he's coming. Just give us a minute. Yep, he's here. Yeah, no, he's not here. Can you do, let's see, there was one question I should answer. Here we go. Okay, everything is getting loaded. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the patience. Technology is not 100%. How you guys like the weather in LA? It was pretty awesome, Curbivore this weekend. As you guys know, Chris came out, and I met him in person, first time in 3 years since we've been doing the show. I think we got along better. Well, he can speak for himself, but we got along better in person than we do on YouTube. So it was an amazing event, but he'll talk about it himself. Oh, here's a picture. Nope, he's disappeared. Okay, he is having issues. All right, so Curbivore was Thursday night and Friday all day. I actually see somebody who was there. Steph, thank you for the drinks. We appreciate it. There were a few drivers. A lot of a lot of drivers were not there because of Coachella. And
Sergio,
yeah, this is I don't know what's going on now. I'm not touching anything. He's doing all of it. Yeah. Hopefully you guys drove and was safe at Coachella and made a shit ton of money. So if you did go to Coachella, please put the... there he is.
what's going on?
What's going on?
Fucking computer.
That's a good way to, the LA weather. LA weather got to you, man.
No. It was the computer. It would not. My camera wasn't like connecting for some reason. I had to restart it like 5 times just for it to finally work. And
Okay.
so yeah, getting all that shit. So
all right, well,
what's up, everybody?
It's Tuesday.
It is.
You want to start all over?
Yeah, 5 minutes into it. Yo, it's Tuesday. Show Me the Money Club live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Which, guess what? It fucked up because I was going to play the video, and then I was going to play this little video. So we'll be back in a second. Sergio and myself finally together after what, 3 years now?
Exactly 3 years.
So we're here. We're enjoying Curbivore. It's LA, 85 degrees. My wife said yesterday it was snowing. We were at the beach. We're enjoying.
And here's my partner in crime for 3 years, for hopefully another 3 years. Glad he's out here. We're having a really good time at Curbivore. And see you guys every Tuesday, obviously. But besides that, I am going to try to convince him. I have 6 hours to do it. I'm trying to get him in a Waymo. That's what I'm trying to do, but we'll see.
We'll see.
You guys stay tuned. You guys will see.
There you go.
Well, that was a very enjoyable time. I mean, not only that, Pedro was there, Torsten was there, Luis of Delivery TV was there, Kian. So we had a couple of YouTubers out there. I think I'm missing one, didn't I? Pedro. I don't know, maybe one more.
Kian.
That was good, huh?
Kian.
Yeah, I said Kian.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool to see everybody and hang out and see the event and all that crazy stuff. I mean, the weather was perfect. I don't think you could get any better than 85, sunny, and just beautiful. So
Yeah.
that was definitely good. Yes,
I see you got a 10.
A little bit. I told you, hand right up, man.
Yeah.
And then we saw a couple of drivers come by. So Steph, I see in the chat, Mo, a couple of the drivers as well too. So it was real cool to meet everybody, hang out, have a good time. Thank you, Steph, by the way. Appreciate the nice gift. And we weren't making fun of you for the live streaming aspect. It's just you didn't understand it, so it's no big deal. And I mean, honestly, though, thinking about it, they definitely need to call it something else than live stream. So
we're supposed to be pros. We're having problems with live streaming. So there you go. It's not exact science. There's Mo. Mo, stick around. One of your screenshots made it to the show today.
Speaking of, let's go over what we're going to be talking about throughout the day of the show. So we're going to be talking about the Curbivore wrap up. We're also going to be talking about flying LAX to Vegas is cheaper than a 4-mile trip to LAX. We're also going to be talking about Lyft cancellation fees, Uber EV incentive explained by Uber support. Is cherry picking market dependent? Uber upfront algorithm explanation. Uber lost and found item list is released, which is always a fun little thing to have. Waymo Uber partnership in Austin. Super chat shout outs QA. And then we're going to go into our driver's corner saying, do you treat rideshare driving as a small business? So that is what's on the docket for today. And then also, if you wouldn't mind kindly liking and sharing the show, that would be greatly appreciated. That would help get more people to be able to see what's going on, especially updates, news, crazy things to watch out for, because you always know that Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, and all these companies, they like to operate where they're going to get the most amount of profit that they can. So if they shave a couple of things here or there, you may not notice, but it can definitely add up. So we're going to bring it all to light. So it definitely helps when more people are able to see it. Also, if you'd like to become a member, help support the channel, you can. Link is going to be in the description. And also, if you speak Spanish or know somebody who does, RSG is en español. So you can go to Rideshare en español and check it out. And it's pretty cool. So it sounds just like Sergio and myself, our other contributors that are doing that. And also, if you want more in-depth content from the Rideshare guy or want to get notified of specials when YouTube doesn't notify you, make sure you sign up for the free RSG newsletter. It's free. It's cool. It's good. And yeah. And then Sergio, behind the wheel.
Yes, sir. Behind the wheel. I did one and send it to you today. It's going to come out on Thursday. Thank you for actually after the promo we did last week, I had like so many volunteers. So now I have enough for like next 2-3 weeks, I think. But does not mean you should stop having an interest in it. I rather do as many as I can, as what they call it in Hollywood. It's in the can or something. Is that what they call it? And put them in the can.
You're in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think it's in the can. You know, in the old days, it wasn't digital; it was actual film. You know, they had cans protecting the film, so they used to call it "it's in the can." So I rather have as many in the can as possible. Those are great conversations. Today was an amazing conversation with a driver from Connecticut. You guys have to check it out. He is the perfect driver, Chris. The perfect, if there is such a thing. Well, according to one metric, anyway. Young dude, very, very pleasant. Conversation. So if you're interested talking about anything you want to talk about, you can be bitching and moaning, you can be talking about your earnings, you can be talking about how wonderful it is to drive for Uber and Lyft, anything you guys want to do. No muzzle, no restriction, no script, fireside chat style of a thing. I love doing them, and audiences like watching them because it's true drivers talking about what's happening. And yeah, email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. and then I will respond after I clean up my other 400 emails for the day, and you will get a response, and I'll send you a Zoom link, and we'll hop on and record. That's how easy it is. Easy peasy. That's it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
Did you know that our Sunshine Man is going to be called Snowman now?
Yes. Actually, if he's here, you better be staying. Because there's something that's coming up that is. I thought of you right when I saw it, and I'm sure you'll know exactly what it is once you see it in the show. So if you're here watching, make sure you stay, because I'd love to see your live reaction in the comments as well too.
Yeah. All right.
But with that being said, let's talk Curbivore. So yes, Curbivore was this past weekend. Well, Friday was the actual event. Thursday was like a little happy hour. A bunch of people were there. And it was a good time. We were hanging out with a lot of different people. We met Ryan Green, we met Bryce Bennett, we met a lot of other people when it comes to like Solo, Gridwise, a couple of these other companies. And it was good to see them in person. And, you get to know people a lot more in person than, on screen. So it was a really good time, really good meeting everybody, hanging out. But one of the things that Luis and I talked about at the post-bar wrap-up was he said, what is one thing that you took away from this entire thing? And I said, if I had to sum it up into one word, I would have to say pivot.
Yep, definitely. I came up with a lot of different, not ideas, but it kind of confirmed where this business is going. Not imminent, but it definitely did confirm for me. It also confirmed for me where our society is going in general, because we're stuck in this bubble called rideshare or gig world. But in general, I think everybody probably needs to pivot in the country, to be honest with you. The other thing is special shout out to Bryce Bennett of Solo, who included us in the company dinner on Thursday night. Thank you, Bryce. Much appreciated. And Saturday was wonderful. Great weather. Chris and I, we went there and did our interviews, whatever we were supposed to do. And and so did Chris, I met my first multi-billionaire on Saturday, Stanley Tang of DoorDash. He's a multi-billionaire. He is one of the founders of DoorDash. I had a little quick talk with him, for about 5 minutes or so on the street. But no, it was a great event. So this is the 5th Curbivore. First one was virtual due to COVID, and these 4 were in person, obviously. And I can 100% unequivocally say this was the best one yet. And besides the weather, besides the people, besides the vendors and sponsors, food was great. Everything was good. It was great. And more importantly, meeting my partner in crime, first time in person, was great. I thought we got along as probably better than we got along on YouTube. But sometimes, you never know what you're going to get. I'm much older than him, but I think it was a great time. It was a great 2 days. So until next time, partner.
I know, right? Yeah, it was good. Going to get the pastrami for breakfast, and then going to the Santa Monica Pier and hanging out over there, and just seeing a little bit of the sights in LA. A lot of different things. Speaking of, do you think that Coco robot is still sitting there?
Yeah, that was hilarious, bro. So, I hope not. Well, no, it's probably somebody jacked it, probably, if it's still sitting there.
So yeah, there was a little Coco robot that had a little bit of an error, so it was flashing red, and we left the bar to go and eat, and it's sitting there on the side of the road waiting, and it's just flashing, and it hasn't moved in like hours at this point. So we stop and we're like, Coco, you left your robo, and you'll see that in the video because it'll be at the very end. But yeah, I was just sitting there. So who knows if somebody came and claimed it or not.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we can
yeah, it was pretty wild. So, sure. Yeah, one of the thing, some of the things though, when you're talking about like the industry as a whole, where things are going, a lot of it is, robot and AI focused as well as AV focused. So they're definitely trying to say, hey, drivers, don't worry. It's still going to be a place for drivers. And, largely that is going to be true. And AVs are not going to take a chunk of the pie, at least for, several more years. But the thing is, you can see what comes to fruition. So you saw Ali of Serve Robotics 4 years ago, and what transpired in the last 4 years to today. Well, this past week, what you were saying. So what they're talking about now is what they're building for towards the future. So it's one of those things. Hey, we all knew that rideshare wasn't going to last forever. It's definitely going to have its dash mark, its end mark on a gravestone very soon. Probably though in definite about a decade or so, if I had to guess. But the thing is, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, these are what these people are talking about. We saw people from Lyft, from DoorDash, from city planners, a lot of different speakers who are actually there talking about what's AV going to look like, what is the future of transportation going to look like, how is it going to be incorporated into cities, how is it going to be incorporated into these apps and everyday life. So yeah, this is what they're brainstorming at the time, and they're working towards it. So it's one of those things where, when I said earlier, pivot, yes, that means there's a finite lifespan left on rideshare, on food delivery, at least for the foreseeable future. We're going to be fine. I don't have any problem with that, saying that, but it's definitely something where, if you need to make the transition to something sooner than later, start that transition, only because you don't want to be left behind. And then all of a sudden, they say, hey, we got AVs that are coming into your city, and we don't need any drivers anymore. Or they do something that makes it where it cuts your earnings in half, and then you're just sitting there, trying to pay your bills and stuff like that. So again, anything in the near future, I don't see anything changing. I still see drivers needing to be out there. Yeah, there are definitely cities where Waymo is, and no, I did not take a Waymo.
Yeah,
So in
I couldn't
that
get him in.
video, Sergio couldn't win that round. We didn't get into a Waymo, although we did do a Tesla self driving, which is perfectly fine in my book, because there's actually a driver in the car, and it's more on principle than anything else. But yeah, when it comes down to it, don't place all your eggs in one basket, as we've always said. But this is where it's time where you got to start gathering everything you can, make smart decisions, and don't wait until the end.
Yep, for sure. And writing's on the wall, but the wall is pretty far. My money says a decade away. A decade,
At least.
some of you may say it's a long time, this and that, but it's not. Years are flying by. I mean, we've been doing this for 3 years, so where did 3 years go? But yeah, definitely, I mean, that's a different subject altogether. But yeah, overall, it was a great event, and looking forward to next year if I'm still around. And I think meeting people who are drawing the playbook for the future are important, and talk about it and listen to them. And in turn, we can, come here and talk to you guys about it, because I don't think many of you will have a chance to, to be on the first floor. And I think this time being your eyes and ears as opposed to be you being my eyes and ears, was necessary. We may actually, I don't know. I have an idea of doing maybe once a month, to like office hours kind of a thing, like a impromptu live stream with you guys, because I'm sure you guys have concerns and questions, and maybe we'll answer those. But overall, A+ weekend, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And even though it was more geared towards like the industry, what's going on there, there was definitely, Solo, Gridwise, a couple of these companies that are there that are driver focused. So it was good to see that, especially with Ryan and Bryce and what they're planning actually, within the next few months. So we'll probably both have them both on when it comes to, sitting down and talking about what's going to help drivers. So yeah, we were able to see some of the things behind it that is going to be coming and helping you guys. We can't say anything yet, only because it's for them to announce and talk about. So either way, yeah, it was a great weekend. A lot of good food, as you said. So hey, you built up the hype, and I was worried there for a minute because things weren't looking so hot, but it pulled out. So it was definitely a good time.
Yep. Anyway, so until next time, we'll let's move on.
All right, so let's talk about LAX, which I was just at. So I stayed downtown LA, not too far from Skid Row, actually. Pretty nice little area there. But yeah, I was about 16 miles from LAX. And so I do what most people do, and that is open up both apps and see who's cheaper, because that's what I'm going to take. So I landed in LA about 4:30, and so I got out into the parking lot right about I don't know, maybe about 4:45. So it's starting at the traffic time, and so I look at it. Uber's like $14 or $16 more than what Lyft was. So Lyft, you won that round. Good job. And then leaving to go back to LAX, it was the same thing. Open up both apps, see what it is. I scheduled it about 10 p.m. the night before. And Lyft was, again, just as cheap. So it was good there. But yeah, that's something to talk about when it comes to LAX and all the craziness. But what happens when an Uber trip, just going 4 miles, costs more than a round trip flight to Las Vegas and back to LA?
There you go. So Mo, here you go, buddy. So Mo was at Curbivore, and he showed me this trip, and I was like, that's not possible. Well, everything is possible in Uber land. There's SoFi and YouTube Theater, which is pretty close to LAX, like 4 miles, like this, 4 or 5 miles. And so Mo was in the area. He got a request. Great trip. I mean, Uber paid him $24.67 for 4 miles and 16 minutes. Definite take. But so what happened is that, though, this person was going to LAX. As you guys can see, the green and red dots. So Mo said for 16 minutes and 14 seconds, nonstop. Okay. This passenger was complaining. So Mo was like trying to figure out like how not to get a 1-star. He kind of probably figured, and then at the end, he looked at the receipt of what the rider paid. The rider paid $72, and Mo said, by the way, there was no surge. Well, not visible on the driver app. It definitely looks like there was a.
There's got to be, because
there's a 4x
just for
surge
this,
on this
4
one,
miles. Yeah, for me, like I said, from going to LAX to downtown, 16 miles, and Uber was quoting me at $73 or $72, right around that range.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact ride, but like 4 times as much.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
This was definitely a ripper, and now I fully understand why the rider was complaining, because this comes to $72 divided by 4. What is that? $18 a mile? Yeah, exactly. $18 a mile Uber charged this poor rider. Again, I mean, I'm not going to complain as far as what Mo made, $25 for 15 minutes, which is, I guess, okay, right? But what happened is that if you guys look at the estimated commercial insurance, that was a decent topic, actually. I got up and talked to some Lyft exec about this, who's been drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit too much.
That was a good little conversation there.
Yeah, we had a little good give and take over there. But Uber charged this rider $18.11 for commercial insurance. That comes to about over $4.50 a mile for commercial insurance. ultimately, what happened is that, though, Mo, as smart as he is, so he whipped out his phone, and this rider, by the way, was going to Vegas from LAX. She was like saying that, how could it be this expensive, and what's happening here, and all this and all that. And Mo whipped out his phone and priced a trip, literally right then and there, from LAX to Las Vegas. And a couple of airlines, literally when he was doing this trip, quoted him $49 right there. So now you can fly, either on United or whatever, Southwest, from LAX to Vegas for $49. But you cannot go from YouTube Theater, which is 4 miles away, to the gate, to the terminals, for, and you pay $72. Now I understand why all these riders are complaining about what's going on as well. And this is definitely not a good look. So Uber, $72 for 4 miles is a ripper, right? I mean, what is happening here? But I also kind of blame Chris, the writer, that I'm pretty sure if she didn't check the Lyft app, I'm pretty sure.
Probably not. Because Lyft, like I said, Lyft was cheaper both ways when I looked on both. The first time out it was $58, and then going back it was $66. So add that up together, and you know what's crazy? So Buffalo to LAX, and I stop in Charlotte, and then on the way back I stop in Chicago. Round trip Buffalo to LAX though, and back to Buffalo was $264 for me to go out there.
Crap.
And back.
Okay, so if you didn't get picked up and dropped off at Buffalo, right? If you didn't get picked up and took Ubers to the airport, you would have probably paid the same thing, as much as your airfare.
Yeah, that's insane.
Ridiculous.
That's insane. So to go 32 miles, I mean, just think about it. Go 32 miles between the two. You're looking at what, $120? So that or almost close to 50%. Then going across country.
Wow, that's nuts. Yeah, so this is where rideshare is, people. So talk to your riders about this, okay? Nicely, gently. Don't just like fall out of sky and say, hey, what are you paying for this trip or whatever? Because this poor lady paid $18 a mile, and her airfare going to Vegas cost her $49. Uber, you got to stop this madness, Uber. Again, see, I'm not complaining about the driver pay. I'm not complaining about the take rate. This time I'm complaining about the rider getting ripped. And because, we say it quite often, without drivers, there's no Uber. And without riders, there's no Uber or drivers either. So, Uber,
and then, even with the commercial insurance, the fees and everything, you're looking at $25 or right around that range. Because you got the $4, you got the 79 cents, you got the 19 cents, and then the 18.11 for the commercial insurance. So
Uber made as much as Mo did.
Yeah. So right there, let's just say it's about $50 between, Mo and all the fees that they have. And then you still got $22 that's going to Uber on this ride.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is what it is. But she got definitely ripped a new one, Well,
and you know what I got to say to this, though? Hey, if you're doing private rides, again, just make sure you have all of your things that you need in order to operate properly, because if you get into an accident, if you have any problems or anything like that, you don't want to be on the other end of that, not having the proper insurances, the proper registration or anything like that. But this is a great opportunity for you to transfer that person from buying an Uber at $72, and then you could charge them $50 for that, and then you're making a shit ton more money than $25. So,
but it also goes to show the gamification, right? 4x surge on the rider side and no surge on the driver side.
Oh yeah,
Uber,
it's insane.
Uber, we know what's happening, Uber. So, I actually, Chris, thought I was going to be late for the show.
Well, it's okay. We had computer problems.
No. But you need to understand why. Okay, my phone exploded 4 minutes before the show. So I know Uber's watching this. Uber, So message to you and whoever you people are in Chicago in the room. Yeah, I need to be in that room, right? Number one, there's negotiations going on. Remember who had Alderman Rodriguez and Lori Simmons on about a year and a half ago, and they're trying to move this ordinance along?
Yep.
A couple of people who are in the room actually heard my name from the chief negotiator of Uber in the room.
That means
so
you
I'm
should
not
be
there. I'm not there, Uber. So don't talk shit about me when I'm not there. Look me in the face when I'm sitting across from you. You trying to pull the wool over these politicians', eyes. I'm not there. Let me fly me out. Let me see what happens. Let's sit in the room. Let's talk about it.
Well, when are they planning on having this go on?
They're negotiating the ordinance, the mile and minute rates, or is it going to be a Prop 22 clone, or unjust deactivations, and all this same thing, right? But
no,
I wasn't there, so don't put my name in your mouth when I'm not there. But
it
it's okay.
just so happens that I'll be in Chicago this week.
Maybe you'll go to the room.
Maybe I'll go to the room.
Yeah, Chris will be fine. I'll have an earpiece in his ear, and then he'll sit in the room with you all. So, but anyway, so I am definitely going to. Now I'm definitely interested. Okay, I was interested before, but now I'm super interested about.
I want to know what was said, though. Do you know what was said, or just
what
that your
was
name
said?
Came up somehow?
Well, it was along the lines of that. They were discussing deactivation policy, right? And supposedly, again, I got 2 emails and texts from different people. One was specifically in the room, and they said that I agree with their deactivation policies. Although they said Rideshare guy hates us, but they agree with our deactivation policy. I don't agree with any of your deactivation policy, Uber. None. 0.
I think what they need to do is
take
not
that
the
message and take it to your chief negotiator in that room. Okay. All right.
Wow, that's insane. All right.
Yeah.
Well, might have to get in that room somehow.
Now we need to figure that out. Anyway, so let's move on.
All right. Well, let's talk about Lyft cancellation fees.
Yeah, this is a good thing, Lyft. And I saw a couple of messages in the chat, and they said Lyft is reimbursing for past cancellation fees that the drivers were justly due, but were not paid. Okay, so Lyft, good job. See, when they do good, we say good. This is from Matt. Matt is, I'm sure he is here because, okay, so another thing, people, Matt and Lynn and Chuck, they run this really, really great spaces on X. If you're not on X, please go on X. It's called C2C, coast to coast drivers. It's like I don't know, it's like it's called Spaces on X. It's about a 2-hour where drivers talk about their problems and tips and tricks. It's wonderful, really, to join. I join once in a while. In fact, I joined yesterday. And this is from Matt, one of my eyes and ears in Boston, Massachusetts. And he goes, did Lyft for a couple of hours last night? This one surprised me. And Matt's a straight shooter like I am. He calls it the way he sees it. And this one surprised me. Usually have to fight for PAX cancellation fees, the lousy $2. And but this came through even though I canceled. Wonderful. Lyft, if this is happening and you're really reimbursing people who are due their cancellation fees, thank you. Much appreciated. Again, it's not the money, it's the principle of the thing. Although it's the money too, because they will add up. How many hundreds of thousands of cancellations are happening during the day in the country on the Lyft platform. In this case, not only they paid the $2 that or 50, I don't know what it is now. Is it $2.40 or whatever it is on Lyft cancellation? on driver cancellations. They even paid him a 24-cent bonus. So good job, Lyft. Lyft is also working on a couple other things, which I'm really, really interested in, but that's later. Good. I don't have nothing bad to say. See, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good thing, especially, trying to have to fight for 45 minutes with an AI chatbot at this point, where they're going to have to put it up to the next level and, waste your time and all that. But for the $2 and, whatever change that you're going to get from it, instead it just shows up there as it's supposed to. So yeah, good. Enjoying that.
We remember when David Risher was on, the CEO of Lyft, we said, look, man, it takes us 45 minutes to get our $2-3 out. We're losing business. More importantly, you're losing business. You have less supply on the platform because we're dealing with black hole support. If this is the way you guys are going to do it, Lyft, wonderful. Just pay the people, let them move on, go to the next job. Simple.
Well, good news there. So yeah, if you are due or not due a cancellation fee or whatnot, and you don't get it, let us know. But if you are getting it, yeah, let us know too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. With that being said, let's move on. Let's talk about the Uber EV incentive explained by Uber support. And, we want to know what you're going to be thinking about that when we go through this. Sergio, I don't know if you need me to read this for you.
Yes, please, because my eyes are shit. But no, well, you know the setup, so you saw this already. And yeah, man. Yeah, this is interesting. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't know if you want to set it up a little bit beforehand,
but okay. So
the story, but
well, a year and a half or close to 2 years now, we actually lucked into it, to be honest with you guys. We discovered that the Uber EV bonus, which was $1 per trip before it all got watered down, which it is what it is now. $210 for 200 trips in 30 days, and in some cities it's $150, in some cities it's $250. But we discovered when it was a single trip, single dollar situation, we discovered that Uber was lowering the base fare, but then putting the dollar on. And the only way we discovered is we had an EV driver next to an ICE driver. They were getting the same trip. Our expectation was that the $1 extra should be automatically added to it, and it wasn't. And we called it EV shaving, EV bonus shaving. And thousands of people, I don't know how many thousands, so tens of thousands of drivers got good chunks of money after about 3 to 4 months after we ran that episode. And Uber made good and reimbursed the money to everyone that they shaved. However, this is brand new. So this is under the latest EV bonus scheme. Should I call the scheme? Yeah.
Scheme? Yeah, I would, which is
after you read this, you guys will figure out it's a scheme. Yeah. So anyway, and this driver was wondering if his base fares are being adjusted lower on his way to accomplish the 200 trips for $210 EV bonus in 30 days. And he went to Uber support and said, hey, what's up? And Uber support came back with this response, because he was like thinking this trip should pay me more, and Uber support came back with this response. So that's the setup.
Yep. All right. So the response that Uber had said through their chat is, thank you for getting back to us. We understand your point. You might be receiving less payment per trip when using an EV with Uber because of a potential incentive structure that rewards drivers who complete a certain number of EV rides within a specific period. Let me read that again. You might be receiving less payment per trip when using an EV with Uber because of a potential incentive structure that rewards drivers who complete a certain number of EV rides within a specific period going on, rather than a base increase in per trip earnings for using an EV. In summary, while Uber may offer incentives for using EVs, it's not necessarily a direct increase in per trip earnings, but rather a bonus for reaching a certain number of EV rides within a specific period. If you're wondering about the benefits of an EV relative to gas vehicle, in addition to being zero emissions, EVs can be quieter and provide a smoother ride than traditional vehicles. That's bullshit. You may also get access to dedicated parking spots and driving lanes depending on where you drive. Plus, while you'll need to pay for charging, you won't have to pay for gas. We appreciate so much for voicing your concern. Thank you for using Uber. Oh, thanks for confirming that if a driver buys an EV, Uber pays less. No one confirmed this before. That was his response. So basically what it comes down to saying, and this is what you had asked me, and you and I came up pretty much with the exact same thought process on this, is that the EV bonus that they're potentially giving you is nothing. So they're going to mark down the trips to where you would get that bonus. And then that way, when you get the bonus, it's what you would be actually getting if you didn't have the EV.
Well, this will be very difficult to nail when it comes to our end, investigate it, because the dollar is not showing up.
Wow. It won't be hard to figure that out. And I have a plan on why, but I cannot say it right now because we'll
talk that amongst us first. But I'm saying this, okay? Now, Uber, this is like unnecessary, okay? I know somebody will email me tomorrow and say, hey, that's not what we meant. I'm like, it's English. I don't know. It's your agent, AI agent or human. I don't know. Either your script is messed up again. If this is a human, they cut and pasted the wrong thing. You're not training these people well, or if you're AI, you're not training your AI well. It's clearly.
I think this is an AI, but I think that they're pulling data from things that may not supposed to be let out. Like you have your internal and then you have your external. And I think they're pulling from the whole source. So that's why it came up with that. That's what I would have to think.
Okay. Well, I will ask for a clarification from them about this. So take a screenshot of this, Uber. Listen, man, I mean, look, my English is decent. We looked at this together, actually. I think it was during lunch or something, right? In Santa Monica.
Yep.
And I said, this is going up. What does this look like to you? So you read it twice, I think, during lunch. And you said, yeah, they're kind of admitting what they're doing.
Let's say you were out driving and you were supposed to earn $500 for the week. Or no, let's just say $2,000 for the month. That you're supposed to go out for the 2,000 month. But they might be reducing that by $200 and so, 210. So if you have an EV, you might be getting 210 less than the 2,000 that your ICE counterpart would have actually had. So it looks like they're taking away some of your money in order to pay you a bonus that you were supposed to get. So it's not really a bonus. It's just we're going to pay you later and we're going to manipulate the pricing. So it seems like you're getting a bonus on top of your fares, but in reality, that's not happening. In reality, they're discounting what they're paying you and then going to pay you later once you complete the 200 trips.
So to me, this kind of this proves EV shaving. I mean, to a point, right? And
but like I said, I have a pretty good idea on how to use this to see if that's the case. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll figure that out. But so for people with EVs, if you are, I would actually, I'm sure there's a bunch of people here driving EVs. Why don't you guys send Uber support, even chatbot or whatever, an inquiry asking, am I getting paid because I'm driving an EV? Or some sort of question that this driver asked. And I'll say, I bought an EV. It seems like I'm getting paid less on trips in my EV as opposed to some other drivers with ICE vehicles. Although I understand that I'm going to get to $210, are my base fares being lowered? Some question, something like that, okay?
So,
And let's see what
you know,
the chatbots are going to say. Let's see if they say the same.
not only that, but go back to what we were talking about, advantage versus standard. You get that 5% more. Well,
Well,
my theory was, and this kind of, I would say semi-confirms it, that what they're doing is they discounted you 5% and then say that you're going to make 5% more. So, this is where I want to go to do testing as well in advantage versus standard areas to see, okay, let's see if driver A and driver B, one standard, one advantage, is actually making 5% more than the one who's not. And then if not, that shows that they're adjusting the base fare. And, if it's anything other than 5%, where's it going? What's going on? So those types of things I do want to test as well too. But that makes me really think that they're discounting your base fare, what they're supposed to pay you, and then saying, hey, guess what? You're going to get 5% more for this ride, which would be the same price that it would have been no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. I think we will need some sort of clarification on this. So I'm sure I'll hear from them tomorrow or the next day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And don't worry, we'll be checking into this and we will be reporting our findings for not only everybody here who may be driving an EV or advantage versus standard once we're able to get that going. And then, I'm sure everybody will want to know what's going on there and if they're owed any money.
Yeah, definitely. So keep us posted. If you do have a chat with Uber support, take a screenshot like this driver did and send it to me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about cherry picking. And is cherry picking actually dependent in your market, or is it something that all markets could have? And this, thanks again to Matt. You got a few screenshots from him this week. But he had a really good breakdown on this. And then down below, we have this leg 1, leg 2 talking about cherry picking versus taking every ride, which we'll put on the next screenshots to show everybody. But we can break it down, especially for those who are just listening. Maybe you're driving right now and you don't want to look at your screen, or you're listening to the audio version of this.
Yeah, for sure. So this is from Matt again. And Matt, thank you. So Matt did a little personal test in Boston this weekend. He did 2 legs. 1 leg, he cherry picked the crap out of it, as he usually does. And he's excellent doing that. And I would like, actually, I am going to do this in LA myself. I'm going to do these 2 legs. I'm going to go. One day I'm going to cherry pick the crap out of it for 8 hours. And the next day I'm going to accept everything. That's why the headline, I picked the title is cherry picking dependent on city, right? You can do this in Boston, but and we'll talk about his results in a minute. Again, shout out to Coast Spaces every Monday. I think it's every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So please go join them. Veteran drivers, they know what they're doing. And if you're a newbie, you learn quite a bit. So it says, I'll share somewhat surprising findings and conclusions on the driver C2C space Monday night, which he did. The quick and dirty on Uber rides approximately $100 per active hour, triple the active hour offering under Prop 32. Prop 32 we call it. This is typical and reflects how I usually drive app on while doing other work, sniping highly profitable rides. And that's why our driver's corner today, we're going to talk about if you're running this as your business or if you're running your car like an ATM machine. So leg 1, cherry picking higher paying or super quick rides. Okay. So on leg 1, he grossed $330.05. He drives a Tesla EV Model 3, I think. I know. So 26 trips he accepted. This was on Lyft. 34 rejected. 124.42 miles, $4.78 per mile, ridiculously profitable. 5 tips, 19.2%. 1 cancel ride, $2.68 cancel fee, which we showed you guys on the previous screenshot of his. 7 hours and 51 minutes online, 6 hours and 24 minutes active. $12.69 a ride, $51.57 per active hour, which is again probably 150% above the Massachusetts minimum. $42.04 online, $2.66 a mile, 81% utilization rate. For some of you who do not know what utilization rate is your accepted trips divided by the total offers you got. So on the leg 2, took every ride for 2 hours straight. Okay, he grossed $83.31. He did 6 rides, 0 rejected. Here comes, $46.39, 46.39 miles, $7.73 per mile, which is almost twice as much as when he was cherry picking. 0 tips, 1 canceled ride, 2 hours and 6 minutes online, 1 hour and 44 minutes active. So his UR is about the same, 82.5%. If you take 1 hour and 44 minutes divided by 2 hours and 6 minutes online time, you get your utilization rate. $13.88 a ride, 4 really bad low-paying rides and 2 longer rides. $48.06 per active hour, and $39.67. So, what do you say, Chris? Does cherry picking really help? Because the numbers are pretty close.
On certain I mean, the only thing that I would look at here that would say statistically significant would be the per mile ride trip. So when he's cherry picking, it's 4.78 miles per ride. Leg 2 taking every is 7.73. So that right there would be a statistically significant change compared, which can actually extrapolate over the course, because the more miles you're driving, that means the more maintenance on your car, and being a Tesla, you go through tires a lot more, and tires are expensive. So yeah, I mean, then also the same thing with charging. You're going to have to charge. So if you're going to a fast charger, depending on where you are, it can cost as much as, $50 to charge your car for a fast charger, depending on the time and things like that. So I don't think Boston is that high, but still, it will definitely add up over time. So that could have certain things. Problem though with this is you're doing something that says you're online for 8 hours and you're only doing a 2 hour for taking everything. So I would like to see this where it's much more accurately the same. So more similar conditions. So let's say time of day that you're doing this needs to be the same. So if you're going to do this, let's say a Friday afternoon, do it for 8 hours on both. Do it one where you're cherry picking, one where you're taking every ride. So then that way, when it comes to the averages, you can actually see a little bit more apples to apples. So this can kind of show you a little bit, but there's definitely some errors that could be corrected if you wanted to take this and see what would be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do when I do this test in LA. I certainly believe cherry picking is city dependent. If there are no cherries to pick, there ain't much to pick. And I will prove that doing this in LA. But what I will do is I will, let's say, drive 8 hours on a Saturday, right? Start at the same time, finish at the same time, cherry pick my way around for 8 hours, put the results just like he's doing. And the next Saturday, I'll accept everything for 8 hours and then compare, the two numbers, because I think the one on the right, leg 2 hours is pretty short. I think, the one on the left, he probably drove a lot more hours.
Yeah, you don't know what time these were both at. I mean, one could be a Saturday night, one could be a Wednesday afternoon. It could be
of course.
completely
I'm
different
gonna do it.
atmosphere. So
I will do
and then the other thing too, I would say is, driving a similar area too. So if you're in, Santa Monica, do it in Santa Monica for both legs, just so it'll obviously where you end up going and all those types of things could be completely different, because one, you're cherry picking, and one, you're accepting everything. So the journey that you're taking could be completely different.
I am pretty sure if you cherry pick, you're definitely going to drive less miles.
Yep.
So your dollars per mile is going to be better. Your overall total may be more, but you're definitely going to drive more miles if you're accepting everything and that the algo is throwing at you. So I'll do like 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. shift, let's say, something like that, with an hour break in between, 2 Saturdays in a row. I'll make sure there's not major events going on this and that, because there is a lot of circumstances that go into your driving. But if you do a 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. shift, let's say, you know, you should get similar results. But I'm betting already that I'm going to be driving a lot more miles, because all it takes, Chris, is one nature hike, my man.
Yeah.
And
now my question to you is, are you going to turn your app to auto accept?
No.
Because if you're gonna accept everything, are you just gonna turn your app on to auto accept so it'll queue the rides for you?
Well, Uber doesn't have auto accept.
I think you should do that. If you're gonna accept everything, I think you should turn on auto accept.
On Lyft, yeah, you can have auto. I don't know if Uber still has auto accept in the app, but if they do, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it that way. In LA, my guess is going to be that working the same hours, I will gross more, accepting everything. Because after I decline a few, I may be getting throttled in LA anyway. So we'll see. It should be an interesting test. Yeah.
Well, speaking of turning your app on and waiting, while we were at that burger place, you had your app on, and during the entire 45-minute stretch that we were sitting there waiting and eating and enjoying and having a good time, 2 rides came in. One $3, one banger of a $3 right there, and then one was like what was it, to Glendale or something?
Yeah, Trip Radar.
Yeah. And other than that,
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, we were in the middle of Santa Monica. Granted, it was like 2:00 or something, you know, but we're in the middle. We didn't get one LAX trip, didn't get anything for 45 minutes. I got one $3 trip offer and one Trip Radar. So I don't know. You know, maybe they are going like, screw this guy. Whatever. You know. Yeah. Anyway, but we'll see. So thanks, Matt. Thanks for the you know, your
screenshots. Well, don't thank Matt just yet, because you do have another screenshot with him right now talking about Uber's upfront algorithm explanation.
Yeah, we explained this. This explains it all. Okay, and I figured why this happened, but the discrepancy is so high that the algo is broken. We said this many times. The algo is broken. This is the exact same trip offered to Matt again 3 times, twice on Trip Radar, and eventually the actual ping. Okay. Now, Uber, we did this last week when you sent me $3 trips, the same trip 8 times in a row. I mean, if I'm not taking it on Trip Radar, okay, what makes you think specifically, if there is no upward adjustment in the fare, that I'm going to take it the next time and the next time and the next time? I'm not going to. Like I said, no means no. Okay. All right. So they showed this to Matt on Trip Radar, $28.93. All right. Okay, but read the pickup distance, Chris. 3 minutes and 0.9 miles, correct?
Yes.
Or what? Or is it something like that? It's just like,
yes, 3 minutes, 0.9 mile.
All right. And the drop-off mileage and time did not change, correct? On the first screenshot?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes, 12.5 miles.
All right. So from there, the second time they showed this to Matt, the offer dropped by a cool $5.23. Now, what is the pickup in time and distance?
The pickup is 3 minutes, 0.8 miles, so a little bit closer. But there's GPS variance, which Uber claims when it came to the more perfect union. Some was on the other street versus with street A versus street B. So I mean, that could be the exact same thing there. So even though it shows a 1/10 of a mile difference, it could just be the GPS variance. Let's go with that. And then for the pickup drop off, or I mean, from the pickup to the drop off, it's 30 minutes, 12.5 miles. Exact same trip.
That did not change, right? So the only change I see here, a huge drop in price, and he keeps driving, I can tell. So, you know, he was a 1/10 of a mile closer to the pickup. Yes?
Yep. Okay. So if he's driving, there you go.
He's driving. He's not parked. He's in his car. So that variance is that
Never mind then.
Yeah, no. That's bullshit. There is no variance, GPS variance. He's in his car. So he's a 1/10 of a mile closer. Uber Algo cut the fare on Trip Radar by $5.23. Do you think they cut the fare to the rider by $5.23?
Nope.
No, I agree. So
no, because once you hit the trip, once you hit the confirm request, then that's the price you're paying. So it doesn't matter what shows up on the driver, and that's the price you're paying. You're locked into that already.
So where is this 523 going?
Uber's pocket. But did you also notice how there's a $7.25 surge included on both of those?
Yes, because he does search trips, but he's a sniper. But then finally, Algo said, well, of course, Matt, you declined on Trip Radar twice. We must give this to you as an exclusive. Now, I know why probably Matt declined this. Do you see on the bottom where it says multiple stops?
Yep.
I despise multiple stop trips. Period. So on the face of it, this may not be a bad trip, but the multiple stop killed it. If this did not have a multiple stop warning or sign on the bottom, I'm pretty sure Matt would have tried to match the first one, because $30 for half hour of work is pretty decent, right? But that probably was his reason. And then finally, Uber said, sure, he didn't take $28.93. He didn't take $23.70. I will just give it to him at $23.01. I'm sure it's going to be irresistible to him at this moment.
Ooh, take it. Ooh, you can't not accept that.
So on the last one, on the exclusive, so-called exclusive offer, nothing has changed. Do you notice, right? The surge is the same. Passenger is the same. Pickup is the same, except did the pickup time and distance change?
Just the pickup went to it would drop to 2 minutes and half a mile instead of 3 minutes, 0.8 mile.
So he's closer now. He's driving. He's closer to the rider now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So from the first one to the second one, the offer dropped by $5.23 because he was 1/10 of a mile closer. That's a pretty decent haircut, Uber. And on the exclusive, he was closer yet.
And it
dropped another 69 cents. Is this?
Ooh, baby.
Yeah. So from the first one to the last one, here's the way I look at it. $28.93, $23.01. That's $5.92 that Uber decided to pay less because Matt was driving and he was 1 minute and half a mile closer to the rider. Why should the contract change this much by like literally 25%? Because he was closer to the rider.
It shouldn't. But the flip side of this is, you know, the spinner time on this is probably a little on the high end. And, you know, normally you would go up in rate because you want to make sure that it's taken. So that means you would have to pay more.
See, here's my concern with this, Chris. So because he was half a mile closer
to 23.70 to 28.93 in the opposite order, and that would make sense. Not this way where they're like, oh, we're going to start high and then go low.
No, but like, I get it
because we're not taking the ride.
Uber is going to say he was closer. I get it. But half a mile and 1 minute closer should not mean a $5.92 haircut, right?
No, God, no.
Let's consider the opposite conditions. They show him the trip at $28.93. On the next screenshot, he is 1/10 of a mile, okay, and same minutes away, further away. Do you think Uber is going to pay you that much more?
No, they would go down too.
Exactly. So Uber, this is the
they can't win either way.
This is as well as I can explain your hocus pocus garbage algorithm. Okay, you discount this driver by $5.92 because he was 1 minute, one single minute, and half a mile closer to the rider. That's the haircut the driver is going to get. That's gone directly to the bottom line of Uber. And because, as Chris said, rider fare did not go down. And if this was the 180-degree different, and if Matt was 1 minute and half a mile further away, would your algo have increased the fare by $5.92? The answer is unequivocally no. So this is the shady shit
just
that
the same
needs
way.
to end. Yeah.
It would go down. But yeah, so that's wild. That's a huge haircut though between all three.
There you go.
So yeah, now you know why Uber has a national acceptance rate problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, man, we talk about these things. We'll put these things up, and
but either way, now we can thank Matt for sending these screenshots,
yes,
because
Matt, thank you.
Man, Matt's like half the show today.
That's it. Well, because you know what? It could be Matt, it could be anybody. You guys, please send me these screenshots when you see these types of variances. For literally nothing, a minute and half a mile closer, right? So obviously the algo is deducting tremendous amount of percentages of dollars from the original offer, how close the driver is to the rider, right? Maybe you should do the other way around too, Uber. Maybe you should pay when we're driving further away, while we're saying no. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Ride shift. That's what I used to do too. When I would get the same exact offer over and over again, I would just go offline on whatever app it was coming in and go just stay on the other app, because then you weren't getting that ride. I haven't done that though in a while, because they really haven't. No meant no for a little while. So, but yeah, that's what I would do too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm highlighting some questions. We'll have to answer those. So people, whoever you're commenting, you have to stick to the end for me to answer those questions. Some are good ones. Anyway, next one.
Will do. But let's move on. Let's have a little bit of fun, because Uber lost and found items list has been released. This is always fun. So the 2025 Uber lost and found index.
Yeah, this came out a couple days ago.
Jeff,
so put it in the chat,
are you here? Are you here, Jeff? Because what is the first most unique on the top 50 list when it comes to the Uber lost and found index? Number 1, mannequin head with human hair.
It must be the one that Jeff got.
Yeah, for those who don't, I forget the name. Jeff, if you're in here, put her name. But for those who don't know, we featured Jeff. He was also featured on Uber. He's got money from so many different countries across the globe, and also he's got his little mannequin with human hair because the person that
Lily,
that gave
Lily,
it to him,
her name is Lily. Her name is
Lily. That's right.
Yeah. So Jeff, there you go.
Thanks, Jeff.
The most unique
number item. 1. So are these all your passengers that went into this? Somebody left a mannequin.
So Jeff, how many of these things have you found in your car? Mannequin head, you got that one. Viking drinking horn. Did you have one of those? Yeah, Ghostbusters ghost trap.
Sure.
I don't know what the hell that third one is. What is that? Ghostbusters ghost trap?
That's got to be for Halloween.
What the
chainsaw? Like a legit chainsaw, or somebody left their props from Halloween in there?
Legit, probably, man. Bob put it in the trunk and forgot it. I mean, breast milk. Holy crap! Fine China. My turtle. Wow. A urinal. Oh my
Wait, if
God,
it's your
man.
turtle, why is it in somebody? Why is it in your Uber?
I'm just.
It doesn't make sense.
So this is the top 14, but it was a top 50 list. Okay. And sticky
urinal. What?
Yeah. Sticky boob bra, whatever that is. Okay. Aviation headset. Shrek
Sticky
ear.
boob bra. That means it was probably a undersweat boob or something.
Okay. So put it in the chat, people. What is the most unusual thing you have found in your car? Shrek ears, Bermuda shorts, a pink fan that has 2 hearts, and the word bimbo. Okay. So 10 most commonly forgotten items. Obviously, I would have guessed phone or a wallet.
Yeah.
I have a phone for sure.
Keys. That all makes sense.
Yeah. A key, wallet, keys, luggage. Luggage, I don't know.
I don't know how you forget luggage, but sure.
Can you
I mean,
imagine
actually,
that?
no. You know what? Did you ever see like the luggage graveyard where they can't find the people whose luggage it is? There is massive amount of luggage
Yes.
that has just gone unclaimed. It's insane.
Headphones, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of earbuds or things like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Glasses, for sure, that makes sense. Clothing, yeah, to a point. Passport, you're gonna have a bad day if you leave your passport in an Uber on your way to airport. Vape, yeah, that makes sense. Water bottle, okay, water bottle is not left behind. Most of them, they leave it intentionally in the car because they drank half of it already and they don't want to throw it in the trash. They treat your car like a trash can. And and the most forgetful cities, according to Uber, okay, there you go. New York City, okay, everybody's in a rush there. Miami, Florida, number 2. Chicago, Illinois, number 3. My good old Los Angeles, number 4. Washington, D.C., number 5. San Fran, number 6. Boston, Massachusetts, there you go, number 7. Newark, New Jersey. Dallas, Texas. Houston, Texas. So we got 2 California cities, we got 2 Texas cities, and then sprinkle around the rest.
I mean, let's be real though. Newark and New York are
okay. So
right
2 of those,
the river right there.
So 2 of those, 2 California, 2 New York, 2 Texas. I mean, these are all big cities, right? It's pretty obvious what's happening. So yeah,
when it comes to these forgotten items, I think probably everybody's had a couple of these on there, and then the most unique lost items are, they're a little wild.
Yeah, man. And they bring this out every year. This list was 50 long, by the way, but I only put like 14 of it in there. So if you are interested in this list and you want to have some fun, go to the Uber newsroom, Google it, and then there's a blog link, and then you just go with it. So yeah. Yes, sir.
And for you guys, what did you put in, and what was your craziest or wildest thing that was left in your car? Mine was earbuds and keys and jacket, and then somebody had a really nice set, a dart set. So they were nice too, and I don't know who it was because it was stuffed under the seat, and I don't know, I gave like 18 rides that night or something, so it was never claimed. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I got one.
Yeah, I had multiple phones. I had nothing weird, man. Multiple phones. I definitely had a belt, some clothes for sure.
Garbage.
I had a what do you call it? Blanket. Okay, that I had. Luggage for sure, no, but the usual shit. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary, really. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about Waymo Uber partnership going on in Austin. Makes up what, 20% of Uber rides they claim?
Yeah, but our Harry has a
SKU data.
Yep, that's exactly right. So if anybody in the chat is in Austin, are you seeing the effects of this? Because according to this graph, the point is that we know Waymo is going to take some business away. We know that from drivers. If Uber is profiting from this, who's using who more, who needs who more, those are all questions. Actually, there were some of it was talked about during Curbivore, but so on the right hand chart, you guys can see 4 squiggly lines. One is yellow, one is blue, one is red, and one is black. So this is the uptake meaning how fast riders are, how many more times from each city to the next city, the adaptation of Waymo is happening, how much quicker this is happening. So yellow line is Phoenix, Arizona. Blue line is LA. The red line is San Francisco, and black line is Austin. As you guys can see, the black line is running laps around the other three. One, the reason is it's in the Uber app. Initially, it was not in the Uber app in LA and Phoenix and San Francisco, but now it's in LA and Atlanta. Exclusively, it'll be in the Uber app. You won't even be able to order on the Waymo app, but according to Bloomberg, Waymo robotaxis make up 20% of Uber rides in Austin. That's clickbait. That's not accurate, because in Austin, Texas, Waymo does not operate everywhere in Austin, Texas. That number is for the geofenced area that the Waymos are allowed to drive in. That's where the 20% is coming from. It's not the total Austin business. 20% of it is going to Waymo. Not so, Bloomberg. But then Bloomberg needs clickbait too, I guess. But every city they move in, Chris, every city Waymos move in, the adaptation is faster. And yeah, drivers are going to see less trips. Are you guys seeing that? If anybody who's here from Austin, put it in the chat. Are you seeing less business because Waymo is taking this much business in the geofenced areas? And I'm sorry to say, I could not put and record that. I could not put Chris because I didn't feel like my Armenian buddies kidnapping him and forcing him in a Waymo. But yeah, this is what's happening, people. Atlanta coming up next.
We saw a bunch of those stupid ass things in LA. Every time I'm like, where's the cone? We got to get a cone.
Well, Kian took a bunch of it. Pedro took a bunch of it, right?
Yeah, they were getting it for $1.
Well, only one chip was for $1. And but no, I couldn't put him in, but maybe next trip. Maybe by then he'll have more trust in Waymo.
It's not about trust. It's about principle.
Okay.
It's the same. It's the exact same reason why I don't go to self-checkout.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I think
why I didn't care about going in the Tesla self-driving, because again, that's
well, you didn't even know that was going to happen, so that you couldn't like open the door and get out of the car. It was like cars already moving. But yeah, he was in a maybe 2-minute drive in a Tesla self-drive. But yeah, Waymo's going hard. They're going to need Uber now because acquisition of the rider is really, really expensive. And Uber has the network, Uber has the platform, and they're just handing over these riders to Waymo. And maybe in a couple, 3 years after the sweetheart deal is over, Waymo is going to know, yeah, I don't think we need you anymore. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, 20% is a lot, although in a geofenced area. So,
yeah. Well, either way, Austin, you'll be getting shipments of cones very soon. So enjoy them. Do what you will.
You're going to get Chris over there. We're going to call him the president of cone heads. He's going to go slap that thing, Yeah.
Make it a stranded unicorn.
Stranded unicorn.
All right. Well, let's begin. That's it for the topics. What we're going to do is I'm going to put out the link to the show. So if you'd like to come on, what we're going to be talking about is on our driver's corner, we're going to be talking about, do you treat rideshare driving as a small business? And so if you want to join on that, we're going to take 3 people. And we're going to preface this before we go into our super chat shout outs and also our Q&A. So yeah, the link's right there. But yeah, here's the story is what you were talking about when it came to, using it as a business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got this from a driver, didn't have to clean much of it up, didn't delete anything. It says, it's very clear to see Uber is offering $1 per active mile for Uber XL drivers in Tampa, Florida. Well, I think Mike Smith is in Tampa, Florida, and this is not from him. Let's use and analyze the $100 mile trip because of its nice round numbers and how easy it is to understand. Okay. Many drivers will shout from the mountaintops, I made $50 per hour. No, you did not. Do not forget to deduct the costs associated with this ride. That's why this is appropriate right before we do our segment, Driver's Corner. Do you treat this business, do you treat rideshare driving as your small business? Specifically, obviously, if you own your car. The 2025 IRS deduction is 70 cents per mile. P.S. Do you think the IRS is your friend too? Now, this is up to debate. 70 cents per mile may be accurate for some cars, but I think it's a lot higher than most people's cars, unless you're driving a brand new car, which you never should. So the cost of this ride was $70, okay? $70 using the standard deduction method. So income, $100 minus 70 expense, $30. Did you make $30 on this trip or $15 per hour? Hold on. You drove 2 hours away, and then there are screenshots of the trip he's talking about. You drove 2 hours away from your workplace. How are you going to get back? Snap your fingers? Are you going to find a ride back? Is Uber going to pay you to go back to your workplace? Hell no. And here comes the screenshot. So on the one on the left, Uber XL, this is about XL, but this definitely is applicable to X and standard, Lyft standard, and comfort and all that. Are you treating this as your business? Are you thinking of the 70-cent deduction, or are you do you know your cost per mile? So the chip on the left, $94.19, combined with the pickup and the drop off, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes and about 90 miles. Okay, yeah, it looks like $1 a mile, but 2 hours, $47 an hour. How do you get back? If you multiply that 90 miles times 70 cents, you're maybe making nothing, or the deduction may be there. And the exclusive pink, about the same thing, 2 hours and 12 minutes, $100, 90 cents, about 100 miles. Again, $1 a trip, $1 a mile, but your deductions are going to be 70 cents for your taxes. But I really want to talk to some drivers about this. Because this is lacking, and we used to talk about this quite often. I thought I'd bring it back and listen to some drivers, what their point of view is going to be. Do you treat Uber driving as your small business? So I already know.
I think one of the things, though, when it comes to the 70 cents, it's the easiest thing to talk about when it comes to it, because it's there and it's standardized. But the thing, yeah, if you really want to deep dive into it, you can figure out your costs associated with driving per mile, but you also got to figure out your depreciation. You got to factor that into it, because it's not just the tires that you're going to have to worry about, or the gas or electric charge that you need to worry about, or the brakes, or, you know, this, that, and the other thing that goes into the car that you have to fix on a repairing basis. But also, you know, your car note, your depreciation of the car, the value, insurance costs, you know, everything that's associated with it. And then if you're playing it smart, you know, you also want to put extra money away for the next car that you're going to have to destroy driving Uber and Lyft, because we all know if you're driving full time, you know, you're probably putting 5,000 to 7,000 miles on per month. So yeah, you're going through cars, you know, every 2-3 years. So you want to make sure you're putting enough money away, so maybe you don't have to have a car note and you don't have to pay the interest on that. So honestly, potentially, yeah, that 70 cents per mile could actually be accurate depending on, you know, what it is. Newer car, as you said, but it could be more if you're factoring in everything, including.
Well, you have to factor in everything. I mean, if you have a note, you got to factor in your interest. All that stuff has to get factored. Your insurance, variable cost, fixed cost. Hopefully, you guys already know what that is. You know, I forgot to attach that $7.79 per gallon picture I took with you in the car. Remember?
That was insane. Holy crap.
A gallon, people. I mean, that guy didn't want to sell gas. It's pretty obvious. But the point is, thanks, Governor. What's his name?
Newscomb.
Governor? What?
Governor Newscomb.
Newscomb, yeah. Hey, thanks. You know, because our gas prices jumped from like $4.25 to $5 overnight, and I was like scrambling. What's happening? And then actually some driver emailed me. He goes, "Serge, it's the new tax, the Newscomb tax that, you know, they put on 75 cents. 75 cents." I'm like, holy shit. That's, I don't know, that's like 20% almost. And I'm still getting the same $3 trip Uber. What's happening? But anyway, so yeah, we need 2 more drivers, and then hang in there, Norma. We gotta come.
Well,
to
we got some super chats and we got some QAs and stuff to go over. So
yeah,
first, Bruno, the calculation is called a generalization. And a lot of people do have cars that are just for rideshare. And then there are cars that are for everything. So you have to calculate what it would cost per mile, no matter what you're driving, whether it's Uber and Lyft or not. You still have to know the miles, because when you're just driving to go to the grocery store or to the mall or whatever you need to do, that's still going to take into account your maintenance costs and everything that goes into it. So yeah, you're still going to have to account for all of your mileage, because no matter what, if you drive your car in time, you're going to need new tires, you're going to need an oil change, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, you're going to need everything under the sun. So yeah, you still need to account for the miles that you're not driving for.
I agree. And then
It just might not count as business deduction miles, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So gas prices jump because
that's really only about 10 cents on a gallon, if that. And crude prices are down, so prices are cheaper. And by the way, the summer blend does not start for about another month and a half. So we got about 6 more weeks until once it hits Memorial Day, that's when they change it to the summer blend. FYI.
That's right. Anyway, but all right, let's do our super chats and get into the driver's corner.
All right, Rich, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
And then hold on, this is not working right. Hold on. And then Will, thank you for being a member again. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Got a couple of super chats I saw. I got to scroll through. Here's this one. Thank you for the super chat. $10. Uber algorithm is dumber than Pet Rocks. I'm 15 miles from the pickup, and it thinks I'm going to take the ride for $4. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not the smartest.
Well, no, it's the smartest for Uber.
Yeah, it's smart for Uber. It's not built for you and I or all of us. Yeah. It's built for
it's built on common sense.
Yep. Keith, appreciate the super chat.
Thank you,
great show. Thank you. All right, let's go into the comments. Courtesy to Sergio, I'm re-strategizing on how to drive some days, be positive and make money. Yeah, be positive.
You bet. Re-strategize, readjust, adapt, or you're going to be a dinosaur. Done.
Mm-hmm. That's what Jay did. He was talking about last week how he's changed. He used to, accept everything, and now he's starting to cherry pick. So he's actually going to be making a video on that. It'll probably be out next week, talking about, how he's had to change his strategy from when he first started to know.
I see the headline, Jay the cherry picker.
Hustlin' Buddha. Sergio made 2.5K-ish at Coachella. Nice.
Show me the money or it never happened.
That money.
Show me the money. It never happened. You're buying lunch then. You're buying lunch. All right.
You have 3 years to make the money from Uber and transfer it into starting your own business. If you don't do that 3 years from now, you'll be in the exact same spot. You're right.
Maybe not 3, probably 5 to 10, but anywhere there.
One of the best things I'm going to say is, if you don't know anything that you could potentially do, there's a lot of different videos on YouTube that can give you different ideas on what you could potentially do or what you may enjoy that you didn't even think was possible. Or you ask yourself, what is something people hate to do? And then I don't mind doing it or fulfilling that problem. So you got to find the solution to the problem. And then also, the other thing too is, you can come up with these different things, but you gotta take the steps in order to make it happen. So yeah, that's where you got to start pivoting, and changing, what you're doing, because in 3 years, if you don't change anything, you're going to be in the exact same spot. And who knows what it's going to look like in 3 years? Maybe that ride minimum will be, instead of $2 or $3, it'll be down to $1.50. Who knows?
Yep, definitely.
All right. Costa Rica says, sounds like you guys drank some progressive Kool-Aid. I don't like progressive, but okay. Automation requires so much data connection and energy. Yeah. There would have to be huge infrastructure in place to achieve a national automation. Well,
yeah, Costa
automation
Rica.
AVs
Costa
are
Rica.
not the
I
same.
don't know what your background is, but I think the people's background that were at Curbivore, they would beg to differ with you. I think they got all that taken care of. Like it or not, it's coming. And I highlighted one more question. We'll do that at the end. You know, we'll probably do another show about this, but and then here's the rebuttal to you from Steph. But long story short, this is happening, people. And the people that were there are the builders of these things. And I'm going like, yeah, it is happening. But if you have
Well,
kids,
actually,
talk
I
to your
mean,
kids about this.
look at AI. I mean, look at how far AI has come over the last year, the changes, and then last from just last year, and then the year prior to that, how much it's jumped to today, and then they're talking about next year is going to be general AI intelligence, and then also in 6 years they're calling for supreme artificial intelligence. So yeah, there it's coming and it's happening. So it's better to be in front of the curve than behind the curve.
100%.
Oculus, let me come on the show. Well, you got the link. Come on.
I mean, if you don't talk about business, if you don't talk about you got deactivated, no. Yeah, are they?
Then you can send Sergio an email instead. Mike Smith says, Sergio, Uber's still shaving those extra wait time fee offers. Well, Mike, send us some screenshots so we can see that.
Screenshots. Send us a screen recording.
Yep.
I sent it to him. We'll see what happens.
Tony, you should try medical courier. Depending on if you want to do that or not. It can be a potential way to make extra money. And you just got to watch out for what you may or may not want to do. So some people will enjoy it, some people won't.
There we go. This is a good one, Chris. This is a good one, Chris. Yes, you won't have me to beat around.
All right. Well, this one says the only way I consider an EV is if I can get a refund for 100% of the purchase costs. That is so unrealistic. It's not even funny. I mean, have you spent any money on your car? Did you get a reimbursement for your vehicle? No. So why would an EV be any different? The only reason why the EV incentives were coming out was because EVs were priced higher than regular ICE cars, and they wanted people to make the switch. Now in today's world, those EVs are starting to come down and are more accessible to more people. So it only makes sense that the EV incentives are doing the exact same thing. With that being said, I still will not get an EV, at least not yet.
It makes sense in some cases, but anyway. So we have more? No, we're done.
Yeah. Keith says Chris and Sergio, Uber pulls the same BS with surge pricing. Yeah, we talked about that.
Negative,
quite a few times already on the show.
Negative base fares, baby. Negative.
Every bonus is operated this way. They steal from you and give it to you. Yeah, I mean that's what we're starting to get the proof of it and showing. So we're going to continue digging into it and actually get like legitimate showing. So don't you worry. Lilia says cherry picking works, but only when cherries are in season. Amen to that. Billy says I always make more money taking every ride than trying to cherry pick every day of the week. Hey, if it works for you, then it works for you.
There you go.
But here's the thing, Billy, this is what I have a challenge for you. My challenge is do the opposite of what Sergio is doing, where he's cherry picking and then he's going to go out at the same time and accept everything. You accept everything, and then the following week at the same time, same area, then start cherry picking and run the numbers and send us both of those.
But cherry picking is an art. Cherry picking is an art. If you never cherry picked, you really don't know what you're doing, honestly.
Yeah. Reach out to Sergio and he'll help you with that.
I will definitely.
But yeah, I would like to see. I'd love to see the flip side of that. The more we're able to see, it just puts more into it.
Yeah,
Paul says the algorithm is dumber than. Oh yeah, we said that.
Yeah.
Sergio, what about that screenshot I sent you last week? Uber cut the pay on a ride that went longer both times in miles.
Yes. Maybe next week.
Screenshots?
I get a lot, bro. So maybe next week.
Oh, we'll have to look at that because that's definitely something that needs to go on. Jeff says, I know you're not looking for solutions, but why not accept the first offer? You cherry pick and they play games too.
No, it's not that simple, but we'll talk about that any second now. It's not that simple, Jeff.
Jasper says, Sergio, when do you think driver pay will improve?
It will not improve.
When less drivers are on the road.
It will not improve. You know how it will improve?
When
When a
more people stand
market
up.
is balanced and is not untouched. The algorithm still works the way it's supposed to work. Dynamic pricing still works. And when a market is in total balance, that's when your pay is going to go higher.
Yeah. Or if you follow the Seattle and Washington model.
Potentially. Yeah, this
And
is
then
the
Billy
last
says,
question.
when AI takes white collar jobs and machines take the rest of blue collar jobs, how are people going to make money and buy stuff? UBI?
Yeah, there you go.
Most
That's
likely.
that was my impression of this weekend, Chris. I was not a huge fan of UBI, but I think now I think it's going to be necessary. Anyway, that's a
I
different
mean,
topic.
like for food, for for your basic costs, yeah, it's probably going to have to be. But the problem with that is, you if you don't have like a purpose or something, what's that going to look like? Are people just going to sit around on their couch, sit on their phone all day, and then end up looking like the people in Wally?
You
Or
need to do things
are
with your
people going to
hands,
be
man.
driven, saying, "Hey, I can take a chance." Like for me, I'd be the exact opposite. I'd be like, what's great? My costs are covered. So, where I live is covered, my food is covered, those types of things. But I want to take chances now. So I have the ability to start taking chances. So that to me I would be the opposite. I mean, I already do take chances and stuff, but like having that covered, that peace of mind would be like, so much less stress, because right now when you take the chances, it can bite into whatever you might be doing. So
Well,
yeah.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if we go in a recession, you know what happens in a recession, Chris? There's more drivers that come out because it's low barriers to entry, and it happened in 2008. It happened again during COVID. Actually, during COVID, it helped, but then
Well, it didn't happen in 2008 because the gig economy wasn't around then.
no. But what I'm saying is that due to the GFC, when Uber and Lyft were coming around, they never had a shortage of drivers, and because 2008 to 2010 GFC, people are losing their homes. Get out there and drive. That's why I got a push in numbers of drivers. And if we do go in a recession, that's what's going to happen. People are going to get out there and drive until they get a job. So
Yep.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But all right, let's bring him on. Let's see what.
All right, we got our three drivers. We got Jeff, Mohammed, and Life of a Richard. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
Hey. Okay, Mohammed is the regular.
Good evening, everybody.
Mohammed is always the regular, so
Yes.
he's just not shy.
Uh,
So
Chris, greetings. How about to save me for last, because I got like 2 or 3 stories I want to talk about.
no. We're not going to talk about your stories. We're going to talk about, do you treat Uber and Lyft driving as your business? That's what we're
Yes.
going to talk about.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if
when
you're
we-
not
when we do
ready,
story time, when we do-
think about it. We'll go to Jeff and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, that's
Yes.
fine.
First off, save those stories, and when we do story time, then definitely share those stories with us.
When you're putting me to bed, then I'll listen to those stories. So let's go to Jeff.
Hello.
Hello, Jeff.
Hola.
How are you guys? So it's
Good.
to me, to no surprise to you, it's definitely a small business, and
Okay.
I would say the vast majority of drivers do not think of it that way. If they did, they wouldn't give a damn about dollars per hour. They would care about bottom line profits, because that's what entrepreneurs and business people do. I will say I do learn a lot from Matt and Mike Smith, where I would differ with Matt in his comparison to the union that you had up and the union that I had up. He left out something that's very important. If he takes the non-cherry pick rides, then he becomes an elite driver on Lyft, and he would get 10 cents back per gallon by using his Lyft debit card. He would get 6 stay in area preferences a day that work in the airport. He would get priority placing in an airport queue. So taking rides and keeping your numbers up, there are benefits to that. And you guys heavily believe in algorithmic everything. Why wouldn't the algorithm be set up to treat drivers who have a high acceptance rate, who have a high star rating? Why wouldn't they get better offers than people who just want to do nothing and play dominoes in an airport holding area? I mean, it just makes sense. And like, again, you put up a trip Who cares that Uber charged that person $74? The driver made $25 for 4 miles. Who gives a shit what the passenger pays? All
No,
you're doing is frustrating yourselves. I
no.
don't
We
get it.
were, but if you notice, I didn't even mention that part.
I'm
We
not
just said
saying you, but I mean, look at the
no,
chat
no.
profile.
I even
Who
said it three
cares what
times, Jeff.
Uber makes?
I said 3 times. I said great trip for Mo. We were just kind of being facetious about it, that an airplane ticket from LAX to Vegas costs less than an Uber trip for 4 miles. That was the gist of the
And look,
segment.
I'm not going to complain. I know where you drive, Sergio, and a lot of your followers are. They're in a horrible state for rideshare. I paid $2.73 a gallon for gas today.
Oh
$2.73.
no, I'm paying
I
over
don't need
5.
commercial insurance in Florida. It's not required by law. I have a TNC endorsement on my personal policy, $1 million liability, and I can take private rides. I
Yeah.
talked to my agent, who's been my agent for 30 years. Now, every state's different. And I share a lot with you. We don't talk about the Lyft offer last week, where 10 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there was a $10 bonus on every airport pickup at Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And it's not like Uber bullshit. It's independent. You take the ride, you get paid for the ride, and then you get $10 immediately.
No,
And
I
it has
saw
nothing
that.
to do
I mean,
with the
that
level.
look, that happens once in a while. No problem. I
Okay,
get that.
right. But it's about being a businessman.
Yeah.
I might drive a black car, but stealing Lyft passengers at any level still doubles your profit. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
what it's
I
about.
the topic here is, are you treating?
Yes,
I mean,
it's
I came
definitely a
to Florida.
business,
I met you. I know you are treating it as a business.
without a doubt.
In fact, you're using Uber and Lyft to improve your business, which
That's
is
all I use them for.
well,
They
that's it.
pay me. They give me customers and they pay me to take them. So I could care what they charge the customer. I'll take rides sometimes that are a loss. But if I get a private client out of it, if I had to market my own business, it would cost me way more money.
That's true. That's
And
true.
those
Well,
Florida trips that the person showed, I agree with them 100%, with one exception. You're always going to get a ride back. And if you drive back with both apps on, you're getting paid double mileage on the way back if you use Uber and Lyft's numbers when you
you mean the
file your
deduction?
taxes.
You mean the
Yeah,
deduction? Okay. All right, that
you're going
makes
to get a ride back. And by the way, you could convert them to private clients. And next time you drive them, you'll get you $200.
right. Well,
But
that's a
everybody
Florida thing.
wants things handed to them. It's not
Yeah.
that way anymore.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Good to see you. We appreciate it.
Good to see you,
I
Chris.
know you.
I'm glad you finally met your partner.
I know,
Yes,
right? After how long?
I know. As 3 years. Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time, and luckily the weather was good, so we could do stuff.
No, now you know
And
that he's not just an AI hologram, right?
no, he's real. And then yeah, he's real. He's definitely real. So all right, cool.
Well,
Thank
have
you.
fun. Happy Easter or whatever you guys celebrate.
Good Friday coming up.
Thanks, you too.
And whenever
Yep.
you want to do it behind the wheel, I sure send you a lot of information. I'll be glad to share my secrets with people. Because at this point, I don't care whether Lyft or Uber deactivate me, but the more people know how to be smarter than them, the better off the drivers will be.
Absolutely. I mean, look, again, this people are going to need transportation, one shape or another, and you know,
Can I just say one thing on the way out, and it'll be real quick?
okay.
There will always be a need for drivers if you have a positive attitude and you treat it like a business, because nobody wants to get into a car and not have a conversation. But if the driver just wants to bitch and moan about Uber and Lyft and complain about everything under the sun and drive like a maniac and have a dirty car, you're going to drive customers to Waymo. And if that's what drivers want to do, then keep providing the service that you provide. It's there
Yeah.
for the taking.
Well, I think the people who are older, let's say, not baby boomers and next level up, they will want to probably human in the car, but the new generation, the Gen Z, Gen X, all these, I don't think they could care less if there was a driver in the car or not. So there demographic shift that's happening even in that business, you know, because most of these people just want a cheap transportation from point A to point B. That's about it. Service they couldn't care less about, but we'll see where it goes. I mean, drivers are always going to be needed. That I agree. So we'll see.
Right. And have as many apps on your phone as you can.
Yep. For now, anyway.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right. Where do we go? Mohammed, keep it together.
Good evening, Chris and Sergio.
We can't see you, Mohammed.
I hold on. I treat my driving as a business.
Okay.
What I do is when I receive a trip, I immediately look at the total mileage, multiply that by 65 cents, and if it's worth it, I'll take it. If not, then I ignore it. In my car, it's I have water. I have charging I offer the customers to need to charge their phones on long rides. If once in a while I wear a shirt and a tie, I dress neat all the time, and that's that. And you know, but the only thing is I don't wake up. I'm too lazy to wake up early in the mornings. That's my problem. But you know, I drive sporting events, concerts. Sometimes when it's raining, I do drive.
I have a suggestion for you, Mohammed. Don't give out water in your car anymore. We did.
Yes, I will gradually phase that out.
No, not because you shouldn't. Because there was a rider actually. Some driver gave her a bottle of water, and she said she got roofied or something like that.
Okay.
The next
Then
week. So,
I won't.
because they get sick or something, it's on you. But anyway, no, I'm glad you're treating as a business, which you should. I now, what is the 65 cents a mile for when you multiply? Where is that coming from? Is that your cost per mile?
That's a depreciation, mileage depreciation.
Okay.
That's see, I don't complain about if Uber charges the rider like $50, and okay, I'll give you an example. A ride from downtown Detroit to the airport is 23 miles.
Okay.
Okay. The Lyft charged the rider $56 and gave me $23. Okay. This was like in around 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it should have been higher. You know, that's my only complaint is, and every once in a while I receive requests that are not even like 70 cents a mile, and Lyft is charging the rider, almost like $2 a mile. This is my only complaint. And that is like what's not fair about it. As everyone says, Lyft doesn't have to cover wear and tear, pothole, by running into potholes.
Okay.
That's my only complaint.
Okay. Well, you've been complaining about the roads, in Michigan. You need to, you need to take that up with your progressive mayor over there. So
now, okay, Sergio and Chris, for the last 2 weeks, I've been getting on Lyft rides. It's in kilometers.
Kilometers?
And this is messing my driving.
Wow.
It's messing my driving because, I know how to do that in feet, but sometimes is the meter and the kilometers is messing me up. Now,
I agree.
Okay.
Is there a setting for that in the app?
I tried to change it. I couldn't find it. I got a request from Detroit, going to 80 miles to Maumee, Ohio, for $137. Okay. I accepted. Drove for about 20 miles. Then it's supposed to be like 60 miles. The next thing I see, it's 90. What? Did Lyft screw me and mess me up? I did not leave any kind word for Lyft. I was muttering to myself, Lyft, do this. And what happened is, after a while of driving, it changed to kilometers, and it's like my head flew off. That's how pissed I was, but it was in kilometers.
Okay, so one of the viewers is saying you're in Japanese mode. I don't know if he's being facetious or not. But that's why you're in kilometers. Maybe go in your app and play around with it.
I did.
Maybe you can switch it back.
I did, and that's about it.
Okay.
And
cool.
Chris, I hope you're not rooting for the Knicks. Hopefully the Pistons will beat the Knicks.
Okay.
No.
Cool. All right.
All right.
We'll see you, my
Have a
man.
good
Be
one.
safe out
Thank you
there.
very much for letting me on, and have a great day.
You too, my man.
too.
Be safe out there. All right.
Thank
Life
you.
of Richard. What's up? What city are you from? What's going on?
Hey, I'm in the Atlanta market.
Oh, Waymos are coming.
Yeah, I
Exclusive
see them all
Waymo.
around I see them all around the city. They used to be driving with people. Now they're driverless at the moment. So I
Yeah.
think next few months they're going to be actually taking people in. I just got a message from Uber that they're going to start accepting passengers soon.
Okay. Are you in a Tesla? What kind of car are you in?
I used to be in I used to be in a Honda Civic, and I just recently switched over to a used Model Y.
Okay, cool. What's up? What's going on? What's in your mind? Are you treating this as a business?
Not much. I mean, yeah, I've been seeing it. I mean, the Atlanta market has been getting worse every year. At the beginning of the year, then in April they start dropping the fare. Anything outside the Atlanta market is generally around 60 cents a mile. Anything over 10 miles to drive anyone around in on Uber and I think Lyft. But generally in Lyft, I generally stay on comfort mode or in black mode because I have a black vehicle. So
Yeah.
and generally how I do with most stuff, I try to keep it over $30 an hour and keep the mile. So if it's like 30 miles, it has to be more than the miles itself. My to the what do you call it to the dollar amount. So if something is like 5 miles, it needs to be roughly like $7 to $10 to make it worth for a mine for me to drive someone around. So, and also what I do too is I'm actually keep both of them on. And so if I'm taking an Uber trip, I'll actually put Lyft on black so I can get any bonuses that comes about, grab it. And then if I get like a black trip, so generally you get more black trips in the city. You generally get no black trips outside the Atlanta
Yeah.
market. And so what I generally do, if I get a black trip and I'm trying to finish a Uber trip, I'll actually stop when I'm at a stoplight. I'll actually ghost my Lyft trip, finish the Lyft Uber trip, stop the trips on there, then go back to the original location, open the app up, then finish go into the destination for the passenger. So they think I'm at the stoplight, but I'm actually trying to finish the trip. So I generally
Now,
do that on both apps.
I got a question for you. Since we're talking about if you're
Sure, go
treating
ahead.
this as a business, you just switched cars, right? You went to a
Yes.
Model Y. Do you own it? Do you lease it? Do you have a
Yeah, no,
note on it?
I own it. I own it. So I mean, I could pay it off if I want to. I mean, I put like $20,000. I actually bought a used, so I got it for 32,000 for a 2023
That's a good deal.
Model Y with 24,000 miles on it.
It's a good
And
deal.
so with my Civic, I used to drive everywhere. I don't know, you probably don't remember. I sent you a message where I was driving like 300 miles and Lyft charged the passenger just on insurance $100 just for the insurance itself. And he said,
Okay.
"Why do you drive so fast? Why do you drive so far? That's crazy." So, well, I mean, I was just trying to test stuff out and everything else. But on my Model Y, there is no point for me to drive far distance anymore. So everything is
Yeah.
generally short distance.
Yeah.
See, the only trip I actually did was long distance was a trip last morning, which was a electric comfort on Uber for a scheduled ride, which was 40 miles for $70. So the only reason why I took that is just because the pay was good enough, and the guy also gave me a tip on top of it, so it came out
Yeah.
to $86. And I think he
Okay.
paid 119, but he actually got a 20% off, which I don't like how Uber does this because when they give coupons to passengers, especially at the airport, it always reflects the driver. We're actually getting a pay cut when they put a coupon in.
Yeah. Well, they
So
take the deduction first and then they start the numbers. But all right, good to hear. Yeah, we'll keep us posted about what's happening with exclusive Waymo trips on Uber platform in Atlanta.
okay.
I mean, it's not going to happen until 2026, I think, but or I don't know when it's going to start, but it definitely is going to take away some business. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to take away some business.
Just business probably inside the city some, but I don't, because I know with the Tesla self-driving, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because I had a test. I had a a test, a trial version of it, and it made so many mistakes. It runs over potholes. It goes off to the, it breaks so many different laws, double lines, everything else. It's just,
No,
oh, it's
Waymo is
just,
way ahead. Waymo is way ahead of
yeah.
Tesla when it comes to that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
All right, no problem.
Be safe out there, please. Take care of yourself and
All right,
keep us
y'all take
posted.
care.
Take care.
All right.
All right.
Sergio, do you use your driving as a business or no?
1
Or do you
million
treat it as
percent.
a business?
1 million percent. As you saw, I have a newer car, right?
Mhm.
My costs are higher. My insurance has gone up. So you adjust your CPM, cost per mile, every time you switch cars, every time gas moves up and down, right? We just had a 75-cent increase. I was paying $4.25, cheapest gas station. Now I'm paying $5. That's cost of doing business. You can.
I'm paying almost half of that.
I know, but what that's like, that is,
$2.69.
but for Uber drivers, that's the major bulk of your cost, right? Yes, my depreciation went up because it's a brand new car. But I did not buy that car to do just Uber and Lyft. That's a personal driving car, family car, right? But
Yeah,
I do
the same
drive
reason with
enough,
Pilot.
and my costs are probably pretty close to that 70-cent mark, to be perfectly honest with you. So when I see a $3 trip, right, I'm just going to say no. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
You know, it's not
definitely
a charity.
not worth it at that point.
It's not a charity. I definitely pay attention to where my numbers are. But you have to, man. You have to in anything that you do, unless you're literally using your car. That's why rentals kind of make sense at some point, because if you're just going to do this 6 months, hit it hard, drive 50, 60, 70 hours a week, yeah, man, you rent something, beat it to shit in pieces, and return it. And, you make your money and you bounce. Make your money and bounce. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's why I always say you got to run the numbers. If the numbers work out, then it's the option, but you have to account for everything again. So you got to worry about the standard mileage deduction when you're driving your car versus renting where you don't. So there's a lot of different things. How else are you supposed to treat it? Well, people don't. Unfortunately, they don't understand that when you get behind the wheel and they see that, oh, I made $183 driving today. No, you didn't, because you're not accounting for all the costs that are associated while you were making that money. So that's the unfortunate aspect. You say, oh, I can just trade, my time for the dollars I'm going to make. It's not like going to a job and working, the 8-hour shift or whatever it might be, where there's no costs associated to you unless maybe you're going to get reimbursed. So if you drive on the job, you might get reimbursed for that. But when it comes to, driving Uber and Lyft, you still may have that employee mentality where you are not figuring what the actual costs are to drive and maintain that vehicle.
Yeah, the vocabulary in the driver community has to change. Okay. It's I made. You did not make it. You grossed. Regardless, you drive a rental, you drive your own car, whatever it is. You grossed. You didn't make. Your cash flow, your revenue was the number, $200. That's your revenue. Just like a hamburger stand. The revenue, the sales were $200. Deduct the rent, deduct the labor, deduct the power, the water, all that shit. That's for a hamburger stand. For a car, your revenue was $200. Okay, what's your expenses now? Because if you really want to do this and understand where you are as a person in your specific city, you need to do that. And if you don't do that, then you're just going to out there, you're just going to be out there thinking about, yeah, cash flow, paid my short-term bills. Oh, look at this. In a year, I have 60,000 extra miles on my car that's depreciated to pieces. And then you got nothing to show for
I
it
need a
because
new
you
car and I
just
still have $25,000 left to pay on it.
Exactly. And you know how many people we hear from, like in the same condition, cars falling apart, they still have $10,000, $20,000 to pay on the note. So Because that's when you fall into that trap and you don't do that, and the end of the road shows up, and you're going to trade your car in, or car's breaking down now because there's 200,000 miles on it, but you still have you owe 10 grand on it. And now where are you?
Actually, you know what I want to know? If any driver out there has a P&L for their monthlies, what's your monthly P&L?
On what?
For driving.
Oh, depends how many hours I'm driving. But
no, I mean, like, I'm not asking like a specific. I'm asking, like, do you keep track? Do you have a monthly P&L that you?
Oh, absolutely. I have a spreadsheet.
I know you do. I know. I know. Steph does.
Well, after each shift, I have a spreadsheet that I enter my numbers in. Okay, it has about maybe 8-9 columns, and about 7-8 rows. Nothing really major, just simple shit, right? And you know, I put it in because one of the reasons I put it in, Chris, is because I want to know how much Prop 22 money I'm going to get. That's how I figured that out as well, because I literally hit that Prop 22. I nail it to the penny almost every week, right? Because when you do deliveries, you're definitely going to get Prop 22 money. There's no ifs and buts about it. So, you know, you have to do these things. Again, look, this is not rocket science, but you must understand, if you keep saying, I made $200 on Uber today, you are in the hole. You did not make it. You did not. Even if you had a W-2, you go, I made. No, you didn't make. You gross. That's your revenue. Revenue is one thing. Then you deduct your expenses, and your bottom line is your bottom line, just like Uber's bottom line. Gross $120K in 2023, but made $42K after expenses. There you go. That's pretty high as far as expenses are concerned, but depends on the car you're driving.
Is that passenger payments and not taking into account all the service fees?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm like, yeah, definitely something that you all need to pay attention to and have a reality check. Yes, cash flow coming in is good. Wonderful. You know what I mean? But where is that cash flow going to? And are you saving money? Are you investing? Are you taking care of other things? If you're just paying rent and food with your Uber money, you're going to be in a massive hole. So that's all I can say.
Yep. All right. With that being said, have a great rest of your week, and we will see you guys next week. And if you celebrate Easter, well, happy Easter. Enjoy. And we'll see you guys next week.